I'm heading to the dealer to pick up my 155 boost. It's a 155 325 track, and this is going to be my main like filming sled. And I'll probably run a variety of track lengths on it. One of my plans for this year is to run a 147 3-inch track on that sled, and then I will also run a 155 on the deeper days. So this is my last sled from Polaris coming in this season. I will have 3 different Polaris boosts. This one is going to be my baby though. This is the one that's going to get the most parts on it, and I'll probably ride it the most for like filming and any type of like days I know are going to be hardcore action days. And I'll ride the other ones when it's like clinic day, something like that. I don't even know what color this sled is. Teal and purple. Sweet. Not bad, not bad. These colors should go really good with the wrap that I picked out for it. This track looks insane. I'm so pumped to ride this. I've rode the 325 a bit, but mostly on 165s. And then I guess I had several days on this track in Colorado. I haven't rode a 155 325 very much in my local areas here. So super pumped to get some time on this sled. I'm just throwing these skis on real quick, making everything finger tight, and we'll get this sled back to my shop and start doing a build on it. I am so excited for this sled. I think this is gonna be my best build yet. All right, so I got the sled back from the dealer. Had a couple other projects going on, so the sled sat for a couple days. And then I kind of worked on putting the wrap on in the evenings as I had time, and then put handlebars on. Now I'm digging into it a bunch more. Got it tipped on its side. I'm pulling running boards off right now and really pulling this sled apart. This is gonna be the most involved build I've ever done on a snowmobile. And this video is gonna take you through kind of the challenges and process of that. And we just started getting some snow. So huge shop day today, or tonight, I guess it's already 7 p.m. And then another shop day tomorrow, and then we'll be on the snow Monday, because I think this storm is finally the start of winter. I'm not putting aftermarket running boards on. I really like stock running boards, but I am switching colors. Anytime you're drilling rivets, it's super helpful to take a punch and punch the inside of the rivet out. It makes it so much easier to drill. I originally thought Polaris red parts were going to match this chrome wrap. When I started laying them out on the sled, they kind of clashed. You're probably not going to see it in the camera, but this is like a really bright, flat color, and this is really reflective and a little bit darker. And because I'm kind of going all out on this build, I really don't want colors that clash. So I went and talked to the local powder coat guys and got 3 different color options to special order, and trying to figure out which one of these matches this chrome the best. I'm gonna take this panel out in the sun because obviously the colors look quite a bit different in the sun. All 3 of these look really close to me. I'm not a big color guy, and I'm almost kind of regretting going this in depth on this build, but I think it'll be worth it once everything's done. Looking like this one. Sweet Explosion. We'll see how this looks on the sled once I get the parts powder coated. Finally got parts back from powder coat. They originally told me it was gonna be 2 weeks, ended up being over 4 weeks. So I just picked them up today. Tonight, I will put on spindles and running boards and then start working on cutting the tunnel. But at least once I get those parts on, the sled's ready to ride. Maybe I'll go do a break-in ride just with the stock rails and stock track and start getting some miles on it. Everything turned out super sick. The only thing is that the spindles are a little darker color. They actually gave me a discount because of that. It's probably not gonna show up on the camera, but definitely darker than the rest of it. Matches the wrap perfectly. I had to press these bushings out, these plastic bushings, to get this powder coated, because obviously when they heat the powder coat, it would melt the bushing. But I was just thinking, it's little things like this that make a build project take so long and take so much work. That and like pulling the grease zerks and putting them back in. Just little things like that that really add up to a lot of hours on a sled build like this. This little lip right here, that's gonna be an issue. The A-arm bushing fits really tight in this space, so it needs to be perfectly flat or it won't go in. Sometimes just switching from stock A-arms to aftermarket A-arms is enough to cause it not to go in because the tolerance is just super tight. So taking a little flat file like this and filing down the edge can make a huge difference. So with the custom order paint and labor and everything, it ended up being just over $500 for all of this stuff. I really had no idea what it would cost. I probably wouldn't do it again just because I don't want to be out a sled for 4 weeks waiting for powder coating to be done. And I don't really want to spend that much money on parts that I may just break anyway. Actually, I might even wait to put the bumper on just because these are like $94 from Polaris, super easy to replace. This is like a $300 part now that it's powder coated. Not very practical. Prepping this for the 146 track, taking 3.5 inches off the tunnel to make this the same as a 146 slash tunnel. That actually fits really good first try. Normally I have to trim it up a little bit, but I think this one is good to go just like that. After finishing up the tunnel cut, I put this back bumper on. I went with the Backwoods rear bumper for this sled, and I also did an Advid taillight delete. I don't really see a huge advantage to doing a taillight delete. I just didn't want to deal with the wires after shortening the tunnel because sometimes they fall down and get caught in the track. So just figured I'd try it on this sled and see how it goes. So this sled has been a 155 all year. But the plan was to do a 146 on it, and I'm finally gonna make that happen. I think the 146 is gonna be super out of control and not very practical to ride. But honestly, our snow conditions aren't great right now, so it's the perfect time to build a sled that's a little more playful and maybe make not ideal snow conditions more fun to ride. All I need to do is 146 rails, different drivers, and the 146 track. The stock drivers I just pulled out, these are a 3.5 pitch. I am putting 286 pitch drivers in because that's the pitch that this 146 track is. And these are 8-tooth drivers. Standard tooth would probably be a 7-tooth, but I'm going a little bit bigger. And this is gonna give me a little bit more load on the motor and should get a little more top speed with this setup. If you watched my 9R 137 video from last year, you'll recognize these drivers as the same ones I put in that sled. That sled actually is right back there, and that's a 155 rental right now. So I end up putting a lot of different tracks on a lot of different sleds. There's the skid hanging on the wall. I'll probably put that skid to use in May, but until then, it's just gonna sit there waiting for me. This thing is pretty wild looking. Definitely the most colorful skid I've ever seen. All right, this sled is ready to go, and I am super pumped to get this on the snow tomorrow and see what it's like to ride a 146 boost. This sled is gonna be so wild. It builds so much track speed so fast.
Today and not tomorrow.
This snow is definitely a little funky. We got kind of a crust layer on top here. And once you break through the top, it's like just heavy mashed potatoes down below. So not super ideal for 146. I'm kind of fighting that. You can see like when my momentum starts slowing down, the front comes up and my track just trenches and basically goes down to dirt, into that heavy stuff, heavy wet stuff down there. But you know, we can't control snow conditions, but just wanted you guys to note that if this was like March snow and the snowpack was dense at ground level, it would get a lot more traction as it chewed down. The way it is right now, I get more traction on top and less as I chew down. So that's working against me a little bit. Clutching wise, it feels pretty good. I'm a little short on RPM, probably because I put 78 gram weights in. So I'm gonna put 76 gram weights in and run that. 76 is what comes stock on the Boost anyway. It's kind of hard to tell, but the way the sled's reacting is making me think that it's geared just a hair high, and I might need to do 7-tooth 286 drivers to get that gearing back down a hair. After that ride, I put the 76 gram weights back in and put 7-tooth drivers in, and the sled ran flawless the rest of the season. I wasn't like super thrilled on this setup the start of the season. I think I was mostly just fighting the snowpack. We had, you know, really weird snow conditions across northwestern US. I think everyone's kind of familiar with how last year went, and I just couldn't keep the momentum I needed to really have fun on the sled. As soon as we got to normal snowpack and got to that like dense late season snowpack, sometime around March, I started loving the sled, and that's pretty much all I wanted to ride after that. And I think it's just important to remember, like, the 146 is an insane sled. It's a blast to ride, but only when the conditions are right. You're definitely gonna be hurting if you decide to ride this sled on a deep day. And you know, this is nothing new. Everyone already knows this. I put out videos talking about track lengths before, but it's just especially important on the Boost because it has so much track speed and has so much power. The results of being too short on too deep of a day are even a little bit more dramatic than they would be on a 9R. If you don't have insane throttle control on a 146 Boost, you'll actually be able to go more places on the 146 9R. The 9R is just a little bit more forgiving with that throttle input. One of my highlights of this sled was throwing 270 flips. The amount of speed I could carry into a jump was quite a bit more than any other sled I've experienced. So that opened up some opportunities for where I could do 270 flips. I think the most noteworthy one was the one I did out of a chute in Sealy. There's no way I would have tried that on a 146 9R or even a 155 Boost. It's just not possible to carry enough track speed up a slope like that and then get the rotation you need out the top on anything but this sled. Something new I learned this season, partially because of this sled, is wheelie hopovers. And when I say wheelie hopover, I'm just talking about like holding the sled in a wheelie through the switchback and never letting the front touch. And I think I could have learned this maneuver on a 146 9R. I was definitely close to it last year, but having that extra power and that extra torque going around the corner, like through that switchback corner, really made a huge difference for getting these dialed in. And it allowed me to practice a lot more efficiently and definitely easier. Now that I know how to do it, I could hop on any sled out there and I think I could replicate it, but I kind of needed everything stacked in my favor to figure out how to do that move in the first place. And I feel like this sled did that for me. I think people are going to see this video and then want to do a 146 Boost to do wheelies. And I understand wheelies are cool, they're fun. You know, I love doing wheelies. I like doing wheelies on this sled, but that's really not the right reason to buy a 146. I think you should be buying a 146 for the added track speed, to make firm snowpack more fun, or to have a little bit more nimble sled. A bone stock 155 325 Boost is absolutely out of control the way it is, and you just need to learn how to ride it if you want to do wheelies. I had no problem making that sled do wheelies. In June, I put my 137 track and skid under this boost. It was pretty wild to try, but not very practical. And honestly, the 146 did everything better. I'll include a few clips of riding it, and you'll kind of see how like out of control it was. Yeah, it was fun for the novelty factor, but after a couple hours, I just wish I had the 146. With the 146 boost, it will climb chutes, it'll do jumps, it'll do wheelies, it'll tree ride. Like it kind of does everything, where the 137 really doesn't do anything besides go really fast on really icy snow. So I don't anticipate using that track and skid ever again. I was actually getting super frustrated with the 137 setup because it wouldn't track straight off the lips of jumps. And it seemed like I would get crooked off the lip like instantly and then have to correct in the air. So again, like there's just so many drawbacks to it. Like why not just ride a 146 that does pretty much everything? I kind of feel like I've been all over the place and rambled a little bit about this sled, but I want to sum it all up and give you a couple key takeaways. The 146 Boost is an insane sled, by far the rowdiest ride I've ever experienced. It's not very practical for deep days, early season, or really steep terrain, but when the conditions are right, nothing will compare to this sled. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about this sled, and also let me know if you think I should do another 146 Boost next year.